You know, the good thing about doing something like that at a young age is you see results pretty damn quickly. It's not, you know, this very, very long time horizon of building stuff up, but in a way it teaches you or lays the groundwork for the delayed gratification, you know, for the future. You know, it teaches you that, hey, not everybody is nice when you open a door. It teaches you that, hey, not many of those doors open up to begin with. It teaches you, hey, do you just keep knocking on the doors and keep going, you know? It teaches you that, hey, maybe you don't need somebody next to you doing it. You just go do it. To this day, I remember meeting a woman that we call the lipstick lady. And, you know, most of the people in a certain way referred to her almost in a way, in a denigrating way, in a bad way. And it was this woman that maybe wasn't all there, you know, much older. She used to get a ride there. And, you know, once a week we'd see the lipstick lady come in and, you know, she'd order. And I just remember, you know, even at that age, you know, thinking that, you know, this person is spending their money. They should be treated like they're golden no matter who they are and where they come from. And you have to make that extra effort with them. And I remember that to this day. I don't know if you can see it on a podcast, but I'm getting goosebumps talking about Lipstick Lady because that was one of the first instances where, okay, you have to put yourself out there in such a way where maybe other people are kind of mocking this person behind her back, but it's just not right. She literally has paid money for you. She's a customer. Go out of your way for her. First of all, it's something I call the entrepreneur's education that's going to lead into that. Okay. So, you know, I think that fundamentally anybody that starts a business, even if you hit a home run from the very beginning stage, okay, you know, you have once in a lifetime people like Zuckerberg or things like that. They don't necessarily have to do that. But the vast majority of people have to go through what I call the entrepreneur's education where there's no shortcut. And so even if you hit it in the beginning, you're going to hit a patch of your life where stuff doesn't work out, stuff doesn't go your way in some way in business, and you're going to have to learn the lessons the hard way. There's no shortcut around it. No, that business went ahead and it lasted for about 6-7 years. It was a good pump. It lasted a very long time, but unfortunately, the guy, Robert Atkins, went ahead and slipped and fell on ice, cracked his head, and the whole industry imploded in a period of about 3 or 4 months. Every last manufacturer went Chapter 11 or liquidated during that period of time. And so for us, we had a couple 50,000 square plants, 50,000 square foot plants that we grew to. We had deals with all the fast food companies that were going ahead and be coming out that we had built up for. And we made a good amount of money, but the market just suddenly imploded and dried up. I mean, it instantly dried up. Never saw anything like it before in my life. But it was also a great lesson because that taught me, Gary, to never build on somebody else's trend or somebody else's story. So what happens is people join these companies to create this company, to get it off the ground, whatever the company is. And so long as they're able to launch, then they're able to get equity in that company. If it doesn't, they get nothing. We get nothing. Everything is 100% performance-based. It's market-driven. Sari, I know you've probably been in business meetings where you hear this. Everybody has an idea. Ideas are worthless. Ideas are nothing. It's the execution. Well, that's kind of changing because execution is becoming commoditized. So what ends up happening now is the idea actually is important because the good ideas are the ones that are able to get these teams together, and you don't need money to start a company. You don't need a damn thing but people to go ahead and start a company. Well, in this case, to start a paperclip company, you're going to need a materials engineer, an industrial designer. For your selling of it and the planning of it, you're going to need a chief marketing officer to figure out the markets that you're attacking. You're going to need maybe a social media strategist to go ahead and hook up with the influencers and pre-sell it. You're going to need a CFO at the beginning stage to help lay the investor base down and to be able to tell your story every step of the way to do the investor introductions, the capital introductions, whatever it may be. So the point is not to go ahead and just craft this paperclip and now you got a product. The point is to go ahead and leapfrog your development or your company creation generationally so that you actually have something that's market viable. So either you become self-sustaining or you get larger scale capital as a result of creating that value. So it's not bringing in people that are just willing to join your company. It's bringing people that are key to your deal, to your company and what you're forming. But the ones that succeed are not the ones with this wealth of business experience, are not the ones with this wealth even of life experience per se. It's the ones that take honesty to a fault. It is crazy. Like it's literally their religion. Their word is their word. They mean it. If they don't know something, they don't pretend to know something. Again, I don't know if you can see the goosebumps. But literally, that's That's literally the commonality, the common factor from what we've seen in terms of the successful entrepreneurs versus the ones that aren't. I mean, I think it comes down to there's this common belief of fake it till you make it. And I think it's total absolutely bullshit. You know, I think if anything, you should flaunt your flaws. You know, if you don't know something and somebody asks you, say you don't know, and you'll find out. You know, especially with business relationships, that goes a long way. You know, and especially because that builds the trust, that builds the factor of, hey, you're human and they're willing to help you. You know, with Oslo Foods, I would have been nowhere if that guy just didn't decide to help me. And I asked him years later, I'm like, you know, I sent you an email. This was before there was video calling. I'm like, why'd you help? And he goes, you asked.
Yeah.
You know, that was it, you know, and for him, he was that type of guy, still is. He's that type of guy, a great guy. He just helps people. And so fundamentally, if you ask for help, especially in business, chances are you're going to get it from somebody. I am enough. That simple 3 little words, I am enough. You're not supposed to be an expert at everything, okay? How you're born into this world, you have the exact tools and everything you need to go ahead and succeed. Whatever tools you have, wherever you are, whatever lot in life, you know, I get that literally when it comes to opportunity, that it's not spread evenly, but talent is. But the fact of the matter is, you can go ahead and make it happen. You are enough. Whether you're talking to a PhD in a certain vertical that you know nothing about, or whether you're trying to get that gargantuan sale and you have no experience doing it, or whether you're starting a company and you don't know what comes after step 1. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. Yeah. It's a journey. You know, if you are enough, that's it. The rest doesn't matter. What I would do primarily right now, if I'm trying to go ahead and increase the sales in any way, shape, or fashion, I would literally go ahead and figure out, yes, who the VIM is, who the vested interest market is. That's the first thing, who the vested interest market is. That's number 1. But number 2, what I would then do is do as much research background as possible until I can find certain common talking points on them. But I need to get face-to-face as soon as humanly possible. So if I'm not able to go ahead and meet that person physically face-to-face, I will send an asynchronous video message directly to that person in some way that's between 30 to 90 seconds long that goes ahead and does very specific touch points on their background so that they know that I've spent time on them specifically and that it's not just some mass marketing piece. And that seems to cut through all the clutter right off the bat.